Advice on social media marketing and personal branding from the book Crushing It by Gary Vaynerchuk. I don't always agree with Gary Vaynerchuk. I want to say that up front. For example, when he gives advice such as keep cranking out content, I disagree with it. I think a better approach is to concentrate on key pieces of content that you distribute through journalists or partners. But I still think there's a lot of good advice coming from Gary, and I was inspired by a few things that he said. So one of those key things is you have to have the long view. And one thing I love about Gary is he frames it in terms of your career and your life. And think about how many years you spend in school, especially if you're a PhD or an MBA. That's a huge investment. That's really thinking in the long term. Now, if you're a doctor and you spend 5 years of education to say, hey, I'm not making a profit, I'm going to quit. Think how ridiculous that is. Think of the huge payoff you're going to have after many years of education. But when people approach business, for some reason, they don't think like that. They don't take the long view. And as Gary says, the business world is separated into two camps: conversion-based salespeople and branding and marketing people. The former are short-term players, the latter long-term. And as someone who's worked in digital marketing for a very long time, I do see this bias. There's a strong bias towards direct response types of marketing. But if you want to build a brand, a personal brand like Gary, you want to be very successful in social media, it really is a long-term investment. So let's demonstrate some examples of where this really paid off. So there's this guy named Rich Roll who was blogging for 4 years, didn't really get much traction, and then suddenly he gets a call from a CNN correspondent, and with the massive publicity that's about to roll in, he decides to put up a $9 ebook on his site. So just some quick way to monetize his popularity. The interview that he did with CNN ends up going viral, and the blog post that he wrote for CNN was #1 on the homepage for 3 days. So that little ebook, that $9, perhaps underpriced ebook, paid his mortgage for 2 years. After that, he was quickly offered a $150,000 contract for a book. So these are the kinds of results you can get if you're focused more on the long-term investment rather than just how do I capture immediate sales. And that's really about building the brand, building a reputation. Jared Polin, here's another example. He put hundreds of hours of content up on YouTube, received very little traction up front, but today he can generate 7 figures. And you can see his YouTube channel here with 1.45 million subscribers, about 3,500 videos. When you approach social media marketing specifically, you have to understand that people are in completely different mindsets depending on which platform they're using. So on Twitter, they're checking in to keep up with the current news on certain topics. Facebook, they're catching up with friends and family. Snapchat, they're looking for a blip of entertainment, perhaps on their lunch break. And with YouTube, they're settling in for the evening as they used to do with traditional TV. So as you approach your marketing, you need to think about what kind of mindset people are in. Are they really going to pay attention to your ad for your business software if they're just trying to catch up with friends on Facebook? Or if they're trying to get more detailed education, maybe the best place to promote that would be somewhere like YouTube. So the best approach is to adapt your content to every platform. And one efficient way to do this is to create one big piece of pillar content that gets broken up into smaller pieces. One way that I do this effectively is with this AI tool called Opus Clip, where my assistant takes my long form videos, my tutorials, and automatically generates small short form videos that she can then paste on YouTube Shorts, or she could upload it to TikTok. Another key thing is provide insights that people can't find anywhere else. So one place where I found this was with this guy, Olivier, who positions himself as the posture guy. And I found this amazing video by him where he explains that belly breathing is not the best approach to breathing. This is something I paid a yoga instructor for one-on-one training with because I thought you're supposed to breathe with your belly. What he says is you should really be breathing with your thoracic area, so basically your rib cage. That was a huge insight for me, and I ended up paying him something like $200 per consultation because I felt like he was really the expert. I couldn't find that information anywhere else. Maybe it's out there somewhere else, but nobody was getting enough publicity to make me aware of it. Great content hinges on great storytelling. So for example, with YouTube, some of the best videos are those that build curiosity. So here we can see Mr. Beast, 7 days in solitary confinement. I know some really top YouTubers personally who have millions of subscribers, and one of the tricks they do is they start their video with a hook. It's like the climax of a kiss that's about to happen or a big battle, and that builds curiosity of, well, how do we reach that point? So then the video quickly goes to the beginning of how that story began, and you want closure. You want to figure out how that happens. And in the book Magic Words, which has been written by Jonah Berger, one of the top researchers in the marketing realm, he talks about how content that creates emotions of uncertainty is often the most effective in terms of producing engagement. Appreciate each platform and do whatever it takes to make the tools work to their utmost potential. I would say I'm a bit guilty of this. I like to create one piece of content and then distribute it in many different places, but you're really not optimizing. And one of the best examples of this is that when people are on Facebook, unlike on YouTube, they're watching videos on mute. So that means you have to put a lot of effort into getting the right captions, the right visuals, because they're generally not listening to what you're saying. Always put your money back in your business. So this is something that I've been thinking a lot about lately, is how much of the money that I generate should I be putting into, say, real estate or into ETFs or into stock investments or perhaps into venture capital. And I'm never quite sure, how much to allocate in my own business. And so Gary's really gotten me thinking here, maybe I really should be putting everything back into my business, with the exception perhaps of some small cash savings in case of an emergency. And intuitively, it makes sense because the highest returns you can possibly get are going to be in small businesses, which would be like your own business, not so much with Fortune 500 businesses, which is typically what you're doing in the stock market. All right, so here are some ideas that work for other people, and that's one of the cool things in Gary's book is just a lot of real case studies of people who made it big with things like YouTube channels or Instagram. So you can make $200,000 a month doing podcast interviews of entrepreneurs. You could create a YouTube channel about making slime because children are a very big audience on YouTube. You could be a dancing violinist. You could do online courses on vlogging for business. You could get $15,000 for a brand collaboration on a single post. This is what Skinny Confidential did, which is a wellness and beauty niche publication. Product placement is a natural fit with YouTube and Instagram. So as someone that has had the top YouTuber in the world review my product, and as someone who is an influencer myself who's been paid to review products, I would say this is a very easy fit for something like video, doing product placements and getting paid for those product placements. You can build a brand by providing valuable content over and over and over again, and that seems to be what Gary's done, helped a lot of people with growing their businesses, starting their businesses, building their personal brands. And he recommends breaking the money first rule. So focus first on delivering value and then later figure out, okay, how am I going to make money from this? Of course, you do have to pay the bills. So, there might be one aspect of your business that's totally focused on making money, or maybe you have a job on the side. Focus on what matters. So in Gary's opinion, these are the 7 things: intent, authenticity, passion, patience, speed, work, and attention. Speak at conferences. I would say this is one of the most effective ways to build a personal brand, certainly something I've been thinking a lot about lately. So we can see a search for marketing conferences in the USA, inbound, MozCon, Product Marketing Summit, LeadsCon, South by Southwest. I am about to speak at a major email marketing summit. I'm going to be looking for more opportunities like these, and you can too. Find the ones that are in your niche and blow up your publicity. Here's a quote from an entrepreneur in the book: find that niche that you're so good at and ride it and ride it and ride it until you can slowly expand out. So basically, own a certain space before you think about branching out into something broader. I'd say this is particularly important with something like YouTube, where it tends to favor very, very niche types of content. It's not, you're not generally going to be as successful if you're trying to be a generalist. YouTube algorithm wants to peg you into a certain space. Make difficult things easy to understand. So an example of this is someone who modifies guitar pedals, customizes guitar pedals, and then he provides ebooks on how to do it. And then from there, he branched out into do-it-yourself kits. And this is often what I do with my marketing, is I make it easier to understand complex things such as business-to-business marketing, or how to allocate budget with large business-to-consumer marketing, etc. Meet with 3 people per day who can get you awareness, distribution, or sales. I'm doing this right now with SparkToro, where I'm able to identify who are the top publications and influencers that influence my target audience. So you can put in criteria here to define your target audience, and I'm going to be working with them to help get distribution for some of the articles that are going out about some of my high-performing courses. Direct message people on Instagram to collaborate. I really am a strong advocate of collaborations and partnerships. I think it's grossly underestimated in the marketing world. Engage, reply, give away free content and advice. Get mentioned in entrepreneur magazines. So there's an example of a person who was flooded with requests for speaking engagements after getting featured in Entrepreneur. I was recently featured in MSN. I should be featured in TechCrunch soon. I'm hoping to get in the New York Times and Mashable. Hopefully these will be huge successes in terms of building personal brand and leverage. Don't become so comfortable on one platform that you don't take the time to develop solid skills on the others. I would consider this, especially in the advertising world. I know Gary's talking primarily about organic, but one of the big problems we're running into is how much click fraud, how many fake bots there are manipulating the metrics on social media platforms. So I'm going to be looking at Instagram, for example, investing more in Instagram, not because it's my favorite platform, but because it's the least corrupted in terms of things like click fraud. So having that versatility of being able to jump on other platforms is great. Other things to consider is that engagement is just fundamentally higher on Facebook, and the reach is much higher compared to something like LinkedIn. So LinkedIn tends to be where I focus my time because I'm in the professional world, in the business world, the marketing world. But if I really wanted to ramp up organic, I would have to focus more time on organic Facebook, and don't get too comfortable with whatever platform you've had the most success with. Develop high quality native micro content for each platform. With YouTube, you may need to publish a lot of different types of videos. The way that I phrase this is that you're trying to get product market fit, and a lot of people approach business in the early stages with strategy. Let's find the perfect value proposition, the perfect target audience. But in the beginning, you don't really know. You don't have enough market feedback. Sometimes you just have to throw a bunch of things out there and see what gets traction. So for example, with my YouTube, people love my Twitter advertising tutorials. I never expected that. I didn't plan for that. Yes, I have data on where high demand is, where low supply is, but there's nothing that compares to real market feedback. And that's what you get when you throw videos out on something like YouTube. Another thing to consider is that the number of followers may be secondary to the quality of the followers, especially when those followers are often just bots, robots. Write guest posts. Sometimes this is as simple as going on a website like HubSpot and looking at their editorial guidelines. It's easier to get published if you have original research. Another great thing is to check out this website called Help a Reporter Out. Excellent way to get quoted in the media by journalists, major publications, etc. Appear on podcasts. I find podcasts using SparkToro. Type in who my target audience is. It spits out the top podcasts. So for example, here, people with product marketing in their profile, the number one podcast is Marketing Smarts from Marketing Profs, and then the CX Cast. So you can reach out to them to get featured. I had a lot of success with this. I had most of the top podcasters in the veterinarian world. We were able to be guest speakers with them. We were able to partner with them to make them partners. I did outreach to them, DMs to them, emails to them. In some cases, I even mailed them microphones so that they could do dictation with our dictation software. Podcast, great way to grow your reputation. Do speaking engagements. So this could be video, this could be TV, it could be summits, special events, anything. Get interviewed on TV and radio shows underneath the old-fashioned way. Appear on other people's YouTube channels. It may be as much as just paying people money. It's going to be, when you reach out to them, what's in it for them? Do you have original research that you can bring to their audience? If you don't have anything special, then just offer money. Ignore hate messages. No one who played it safe ever made it big. I think this is a big lesson, especially for small businesses, is you need to understand that people are too conservative. You can take big risks when you're small because you have nothing to lose. You have no reputation. Even if you ruin your reputation, nobody's going to remember who you are. The big problem you have when you're small is brand awareness, in my opinion. So this is similar to Grant Cardone's advice about how as you grow, expect to encounter new problems that you haven't faced before. It's a sign of growth. It's a sign that you're entering into a new space. So hate messages, other challenges, just see them as necessary steps in the path to growth, to success. Not every platform will pay off, so you have to experiment. Again, have that agile mindset, look for that product market fit. Ask yourself, what would cause me to keep coming back to a Facebook page or YouTube channel? Is it improving my life? So when you ask yourself that question, it helps you to be empathetic. Are you providing value to somebody? Are you providing value to a lot of people? Are you giving them something that is as valuable or more valuable than what they can find elsewhere? And often the easiest way to do that is to specialize. If you provide more specialized information, you go deeper, especially if you're just like a one-person business. It's very hard to cater to 5 different niches, for example. Do before and after videos. People love before and after because it shows the transformation that you're selling or that you're educating them on. Teach people how to pass exams for project management or lead, for example. These types of educational things can generate 6-figure incomes. I help people not necessarily with passing exams, but helping them get jobs or advance their careers in marketing because it's very valuable information that helps them financially in terms of their career, the same way that a certificate in project management or lead would. Sell a $19.99 PDF ebook. So if you have a lot of traffic on your website or you're investing a lot in SEO, you need some way to monetize that, and selling directly might be more lucrative than doing something like Amazon Associates or any sort of affiliate marketing. Go deep, go niche, and provide real value in the form of entertainment or information. I think that's one of the most important things you need to realize when you're doing social media is, are you providing entertainment as value or are you providing information as value? Because there's a fundamental difference between entertainment and education. And the other thing is going deep and niche, I would say is a good approach, especially if what you're selling is a high price. So if you're selling $20,000 consulting engagements or $20,000 websites, that's a high ticket offer. So the higher your ticket is, the fewer customers or clients you need, which means the nicher you can go, the deeper you can go. But if you're selling a low price thing, low ticket offers, then you probably want to go a little broader. It doesn't mean you shouldn't have a niche. It's just that that niche needs to be a bit bigger to justify the low price point. Breakthrough opportunities happen in 2 ways. Number one, hashtags. So that's how people discover you. And trending hashtags are going to be particularly effective. And the second is direct messaging. Offer something of value that gets their attention. Make an offer someone can't refuse. I highly recommend this. I think reaching out to established publications, established influencers, established channels is an easy way to skyrocket your business, especially if you're small. Collaborations are the absolutely most tried and true way to grow a fan base quickly. But according to Gary, it still takes years. So this is something I agree with Gary. I'm a huge fan of partnership marketing. I think piggybacking off of partners who have much bigger audiences is a very efficient use of your time. Post content on influencers' pages. Again, the whole idea of leverage. Advertising should be used to accelerate the stories that are being told about you. This is from Andy Frisella. So an example of this is I'm getting published in some major newspapers, online publications, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to amplify that with advertising. There's sort of the third-party legitimacy when this happens. It's also that journalism tends to focus more around storytelling rather than just trying to sell a product. So you might have more effect by accelerating a story through advertising rather than just sort of trying to push people into a sales funnel. One of the best ways to become a big fish is to play in a small pool. A good example of this would be like a new platform that's coming out and it has low supply, so not a lot of content creators. Kind of like YouTube when it first started, it was much easier to be successful because there wasn't a lot of competition. So keep up to speed with what those new platforms are because you might be able to build a reputation there much easier in a less competitive space. The top 1% to 2% of influencers on any platform are often overpriced, according to Gary. Social media is a long game. It's about developing a brand as much as it is about selling a product. And I really love that mindset. I think it's kind of an opportunity to do what competitors aren't doing. When all your competitors are focused on short-term performance, you can really solidify yourself and gain traction by focusing on the long game. I'm doing this by focusing a lot on awareness advertising when I know my competitors are just trying to get immediate transactions. It may not pay off immediately, but it does pay off in the long run. So for example, with my online course business, it's just sort of a quiet side gig that I did when I was working for tech companies in Silicon Valley, but I've stuck with it because I enjoy it, I'm good at it, and now it's become very lucrative for me. It's the long game. That's where the payoff is. It's just like education. Focus a lot on education. There's no payoff, there's no payoff, there's no payoff. And then boom, there's a windfall when you graduate from medical school. Grow an audience through creative engagement and collaborations. Snapchat. Snapchat is underestimated. Some great ways to build your reputation on Snapchat is to create Snapchat events or write a few blog posts about Snapchat so the media will turn to you for a quote. If you want to get quoted by the media, highly recommend you sign up for Haro, help a reporter out. You'll get emails 3 times a day on weekdays for opportunities for you to pitch journalists on getting quoted in the media. It's very easy to do. I'm going to be published, I think it's today. Yes, today I'm going to be published in a publication because of a Haro response I put out. Pay for a Google ad that asks something like, who should I follow on Snapchat? And offers a list of names with yours at the top. This is an interesting little hack. I did something like this many years ago before I heard Gary talk about it. I don't know how much integrity there is in doing something like this, but it's certainly something that pays off. Basically building your reputation as somebody that's a top influencer in a certain space, whether that's Snapchat or Facebook or YouTube or whatnot. All right, Facebook, create a business page. According to Gary, everybody who wants to build a personal brand should do that. It is the cost of entry to building a personal brand. Enhance engagement with giveaways. For example, whoever picks the best name for this necklace will win 10 free necklaces. So word of mouth spreads better when you're doing Facebook. It's very word of mouth friendly, unlike other channels that are more consumption, such as YouTube. It's very flexible. So unlike other channels that are focused on visuals or focused on audio, Facebook can do pretty much everything. Images, videos, text, etc. It's the best place for people with no followers to begin personal branding. Facebook gives preference to native content, so don't just take like a YouTube video and post it on Facebook. You want to embed things in the platform itself. Same thing with LinkedIn. Collaborate. Do searches for keywords to identify fan pages with the most followers and message them. Make them a great offer to make it worthwhile to share your content. Join lots of communities so you're up to speed with what people are talking about. Twitter, what we know is X now, where people go to get the latest updates. It's a conversation rather than consumption platform. Very different from YouTube. YouTube, you know, there are some comments and questions, but generally Twitter is where you're having more engagement with the different people that are looking at the content. Listening well is key to engaging, really understanding what people are saying. People often have huge followings elsewhere, but smaller on Twitter. So when you message an influencer or a potential collaborator on Twitter, you're more likely to stand out. One key hack to do this would be create a video and tag an influencer in it. It might get retweeted because it's going to stand out more than it would on something like Instagram. Look at the trending topics. Trending topics can be an excellent source of temporary competitive advantage, especially if you're small. All right, now we're going to move into some specific advice for YouTube. Most important platform for building a personal brand. Video stars have financially outperformed every other medium. Title accurately reflects the video content. Majority of it is viewable on mobile, short, and emotionally driven. Now, this emotionally driven part, that's what I've been focused a lot more on recently with my marketing. It's not just about education or kind of academic speak. It's like, what is the exciting outcome or emotional payoff of solving a problem? And is the title keyword optimized? And probably want to focus on the keywords going towards the left of the title, the beginning of the title. Description, the top 2 lines are keyword optimized. You have links to similar videos or playlists. Subscribe link, links to other social media accounts, and all links are clickable and trackable. Advice for tags, at least 10 in the description. One word and phrase tags, tags that accurately reflect the video content. Thumbnails, accurately reflect content, text on the thumbnail, complement the title. This is a mistake I think a lot of people make, is they literally just put the title into the image itself, but they should work together because the image is what captures attention, and then they look for the details in the title. And it's easy to read on all devices. For more advice on this, I recommend checking out the book, The YouTube Formula, or you can see my video where I talk about the YouTube formula and give advice on things like thumbnails and titles. Cards drive traffic to other relevant videos that you've published. The About section, top 2 lines are keyword optimized. Playlists, keyword optimized descriptions, features on landing page of channel. Channel trailer, telling the best story in the shortest amount of time. Write personalized emails to contact Mashable, BuzzFeed, Business Insider, etc. I saw your recent article about YouTube, and then you can follow that up. So basically, these are ways to get a lot of traction by influencing journalists or anybody that has wide distribution is going to help amplify your content. Develop personal relationships focused on giving rather than just trying to get something. Way too many emails, messages, DMs, etc. that I get are just, hey, buy my product, or hey, hire me. But why don't they try providing value? Try to tell me something I don't know, or give me something like, for example, I have some people reach out to me and say, hey, I'll design a thumbnail for you for free. And then that helps build a relationship. Give people something valuable that they would have a difficult time refusing. Advice for Instagram. You can be a content curator rather than somebody that creates original content. Tag brands and use hashtags based on looking at other accounts. So study other people in your niche and see what hashtags they're using. Another cool thing about Instagram is that based on research that I've looked at, it has the least amount of click fraud. So from an advertising perspective, it's a great opportunity. Podcasts. Podcasts fill our brains during the long periods when we're quiet. So for example, podcasts, I'm willing to listen to a podcast for an hour when I go out for a run almost every day. I promoted podcasts for example, for a software company, and we basically get a 30 to 60 minute commercial without paying for it. And that's all about the product. Compare that to a 30-second ad on YouTube or on television. It's extremely valuable.